Please be joined now by Tyler Payne, linebacker at a Weber High School. And if his last name sounds familiar, it should, because he has a dad and an uncle who were stars for BYU, but he hopes to carry on that family legacy as he goes to BYU in coming years. Tyler, first thing I've got for you is, how does it feel to know that you're carrying on a second generation of BYU football legacy in you?
Oh man, it feels really great. I've been dreaming about this since I've been a little kid. So to carry on my dad and uncle's legacy, it's really awesome. So I'm excited.
Now, let's acknowledge the fact that your dad and uncle were kickers at BYU, but you play a different position. And I remember talking to your dad. Your older brother was at a banquet that I was emceeing for the John Watson High School Player of the Week award, and I know that you've been a part of that as well. I was talking with your dad about it, and I said, "Hey, why aren't your kids kickers?" He said, "They decided they wanted to actually, play football." And I thought it was
Yeah.
absolutely a hilarious line for him to use. But you play linebacker for Weber High School. Just tell me what about a linebacker attracts you to that position?
Yeah, well, I think a big thing for me is just going out and hitting people. I think, being the middle linebacker too, it's almost the quarterback of the defense. So I really like that part. I get to use my leadership. So probably just the physicality with it, and then the leadership as well.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this question once. How long did it take in your life before your dad showed you, or you saw the clip of him laying out that Boise State returner not once but twice in 2004?
Oh man, well, he never really showed it to me. Like, he never really bragged to us about it. But then, people in our neighborhood or whatever started sending it to us. Probably when I was about in like third or fourth grade. I'm like, okay. So it's always fun. We always get the videos sent to us like on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. So we still get them. So it's good.
Do you make fun of your dad about it and say, "Hey, why didn't you play another position if you could hit like that"?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I always talk to the coaches about it, like that used to play with him, like, "Ah, man, why didn't you play linebacker or something, or tight end?" But yeah.
Okay, well, fair enough. I also wanted to ask you, just in terms of as a member of the 2025 recruiting cycle, you haven't signed with BYU, and that's going to obviously carry on. You will sign, I'm assuming, in December when that early signing window opens up here. But what kind of role have you taken on as one of the earliest commits in this class to essentially recruiting your fellow prospects out there to join you in Provo?
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I committed so early. Coach Kalani wanted me to get, other guys to join the 2025 class. So I've been working on a lot of the guys. I worked on Blake Bryce out of California, so he was a big time get, and I'm still working on a couple other dudes. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be a really good class. It already is, but it's going to be a really good class.
And I talk about Blake. He's a tight end coming up from California. Now you play opposite of him. What was your pitch to him to join you in Provo?
I mean, I know his dad played at BYU with my dad. I think just live on the legacy with me. So, and the new tight ends coach as well. So that was kind of the two things I pitched to him.
Now, you've had a pretty prolific career so far, over 100 tackles last season, 115, I believe, was the number I read for Weber last year. What leads you? Why are you such a good linebacker? Just give me a breakdown of your game, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, I think it starts with the way I practice on Monday through Thursday. You can definitely win the game with your preparation leading up to it. So I think that's a big thing. I try to stay in the film room, watch as much film as I can, and then, just create great practice habits, run all over the place, fly to the ball. So I think those are the big things that help me on Friday nights. And then also my leadership, leading the guys. So it's been a good couple last 3 years, but I'm excited for the senior year.
What do you hope to accomplish as a senior? I know that Weber's got a strong tradition as a football program, but what do you want to accomplish as a senior this fall?
Yeah, well, I think the team goal, we've been working for a state championship for sure, and I think we definitely have the talent to do that. For me, personal goals, I want first team All State again, and then I want region MVP again. So those are the two goals that I'm going for.
Now, with regards to your future at BYU, are you going to go on a mission before enrolling? What's the plan there?
I'm really not sure yet. The plan is for me to graduate early in January, so it's either go on a mission in January or enroll at BYU January. And the coaching staff's been great to me; just left it up to me to make a decision. So I'll probably do that in the next couple months, but I'm still trying to figure it out.
You're going to be playing for Coach Enna, a guy who is a legacy player. I believe he played with your father as well as the linebackers coach there in Provo. What's your relationship with him like?
Oh yeah, I mean it's been awesome. He's been the main guy who's been recruiting me before I committed, but it's been great just going down there. I've been able to be in the film room with him, the linebackers, a couple times, and it's just awesome. The energy and juice that he brings to the position is the way it needs to be coached and the way it needs to be played. And yeah, he's a beast. He's awesome.
I know you're not there every day, but have there been any players on the BYU roster that have become close to you just via the recruiting process? Maybe one of the other linebackers or such?
Yeah. So Sione, Moa, and Ice, I'm pretty tight with.
Sure.
They went to Weber, so I talked to Sione a lot before the recruiting process, like before I committed, and then also Parker Kingston. He was really good friends with my older brother, so we've called and texted before, but those two have been really great to me.
I can tell you, knowing the Moa family like I do, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And what I'm speaking of is Ben, their father. He was an incredible football player, and Ice and Sione, I'm looking forward to seeing them do some big things hopefully this fall.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, with regards to your relationship with Kalani Sitake, what's that been like as you've gotten to know him over the last few years?
Oh yeah, it's been great. I went down there in the winter on an unofficial visit, and I got to sit down with him for a couple hours, and I was just blown away, honestly. I mean, he's such a great guy. Like, it's not just football with him. I mean, he cares about life more than anything. So that's a big thing for me, wanting a guy that pushes me off the field as well as on the field. So he's great.
How big of a pull was playing in the Big 12 for you? I know that BYU is part of the legacy, but how big of a pull was being able to play in the Big 12 conference?
Oh yeah, it was huge for me. Playing against great competition, get a great chance to go to the NFL. So that was a big part of my commitment.
Now, Jay Hill, I'm sure you have familiarity with him from his time coaching up there at Weber State. He will be your defensive coordinator, depending on when you enroll, obviously. But what do you know about his defense? What excites you about being able to play for a guy that is one of the more legendary defensive minds around these parts?
Yeah, he's awesome. Like you said, I've known him since, I was probably in junior high. He recruited my brother to Weber State, but, I went up there a couple times when he was at Weber State, and he was always just impressed me. But I'm really excited about the scheme he runs. It's pretty similar to what we run, a lot of under ones and stuff. Coach Hammer, he's one of our coaches up at the high school. He was the offensive coordinator with Coach Hill, so they have a great relationship, and they have pretty similar coaching styles. So I'm just excited to see how I fit in their defense, and excited to see them ball out this year.
Now, I know you've still got another high school season to go, but what do you aspire to accomplish in your time at BYU, if you could essentially kind of lay out your plan for us?
Yeah, well, just depending on, if I go on a mission or if I enroll early, I think a big goal for me is to definitely play a decent amount of years. And I think the end goal for me is I want to go play in the NFL. So I think BYU gives me a great chance to go do that.
Is it because of the linebacker legacy? I'm sure you've watched guys like Kyle Van Noy, Fred Warner come through the ranks in the last little while.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Well, Tyler, I guess last thing for me is, what does it mean to you to be a BYU Cougar? And I know that you said you're not sure when you're going to enroll ultimately, but what does it mean to you to know that you're going to be a BYU Cougar?
I mean, it means everything to me, like to carry on the legacy of my dad and uncle. It means a lot. Growing up watching them going to the games, I've been a fan since I've been in first or second grade. So I've always looked up to the guys and looked up to the players. And for me, getting an opportunity to, carry on the legacy, I feel really blessed and excited to go and ready to go work.
Well, Tyler, thank you for taking the time, and we'll be tracking obviously this upcoming season. And then whenever you do enroll at BYU, we'll have plenty more times. I'm sure we'll be chatting over the coming years. All right.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me on.
That's Tyler Payne. A big thank you to him for taking the time to join us right here on Locked On Cougars. And I'm not going to lie, his dad, speaking of Matt, was one of my favorite players from my younger years, watching BYU, and those hits against Boise State are indelibly just etched in my mind. But the crazy thing about it is, you look at Matt and also his uncle Mitch's career, absolutely incredible things. And it's cool to see Tyler carrying on that family legacy now, as he will be a BYU Cougar, albeit playing at the linebacker position. We'll do more of these interviews with BYU commits and the like in coming days and weeks on the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And obviously, make sure you hit up Tyler1 Payne on Twitter if you want to reach out that way. I think he's also on Instagram and other social media channels. But if you want to reach out to him and thank him for coming on the show and give him some love. These guys, they're young and they love it when BYU fans interact with them. So a big thank you once again to Tyler Payne for joining us here on Locked On Cougars.